I share what I'm listening to and my thoughts on music and the business daily for free at helloyassine.com.
What's poppin', y'all? The infamous smoking incident with PlaqueBoyMax and not only Fabio Foreign, but Lil TJ seems to be haunting him. It's a recurring thing. But hey, smoking is one of the favorite pastimes of the majority of rappers, almost the entirety of rappers, and of probably other musicians as well. But what happened was Sexy Red was invited to be on PlaqueBoyMax's stream for one of those cook-ups that he does, and the smoking situation came up again. So I will give credit to Sexy Red, though. She was a lot more polite than many other people. So I'm gonna play you guys the clip first.
I'm knowing. Nah, right outside though. Right outside. Right outside. It's a B&B. I can't even smoke. The bathroom is going through that. You see the hallway to the right. It's not the first door, it's the second door.
Sheesh, this looks like an uncomfortable situation. And yeah, Sexy Red, she was polite to ask, but then of course she feels uncomfortable. And in my perspective, the way I look at this is that no, if the smoking is not allowed in the place, then yes, you shouldn't let people smoke in the place. And PlaqueBoyMax gives more context as to why he doesn't let people smoke in this clip, because this is after he analyzed that whole situation, or he was reviewing it after it started spreading on social media. So I'm gonna play you guys that clip.
Yo, just to clarify for anyone that end up seeing this or want to come on future streams or like any artists, y'all are of course welcome to smoke outside. You just can't smoke inside in a B&B where they might charge me, because I've been charged before $5,000 to $10,000 or whatever more in fees for damages because of smoking, because they will make up an amount. It's happened to me before. So yeah, it's Airbnb. It's not my house. I don't live in Miami. You come to the Phase crib or any crib I own or not own, but it's my shit. Of course you're welcome to smoke. I don't know how many times I gotta say that. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. Now, this seems pretty fair, right? Not the $5,000 to $10,000 charge, but hey, if it's my Airbnb, someone's smoking, that's the thing I can't stand. And when you go into a place and it smells like smoke, whether it's cigarettes or weed, and it's your own place, that's the worst. And then getting that smell out. So I understand these Airbnb owners, but yeah, they're charging $5,000 to $10,000 because they can. They're hitting them upside the head. I don't think it costs that much to get rid of the smell. I don't even know how you would get rid of the smell. But the context that Max gave is like, hey man, if you're in my place or one of the houses that I own or the company that I'm involved with owns, Phase in this case, then yeah, you can smoke. But if we're at an Airbnb, you can't. And this is where I have to ask the question, why do they choose to get Airbnbs? Now, some people say, oh, well, you can't do it anywhere else. The way I look at it is, why can't they just do it in a studio? And this probably sounds like an idiotic question to ask. Maybe this question was asked and it was answered before, but I haven't seen the answer to this question. If he's cooking up anyway, yeah, sure, he's in the Airbnb, it would probably have to take more setup work, but I understand the artist's perspective here. Like, this is a value exchange, of course, and we're not at the point in time where PlaqueBoyMax is working with artists where he's doing them favors, because this is an interesting dynamic where if they're underground artists, I feel like their ego isn't big enough to where they feel like they need to smoke, or they need to smoke exactly where they're sitting. Like, I think they can understand either I'm just not going to show up or I'm going to go out and smoke. And when you're underground, you still have that mentality of like, hey, an opportunity is an opportunity, especially if there's an imbalance in not power, but influence. So PlaqueBoyMax was bigger than the majority of the underground streamers that he was having on. And now it's a case where not the artists are bigger than PlaqueBoyMax necessarily. Yes, Sexy Red is a lot more famous than PlaqueBoyMax, but there's an equal value exchange. So they have a right to be upset to a degree. Now, I'm not going to say TJ had that right. Hell nah. Sexy Red, though, hey, we got to keep it up stacked. The past 2 years, she's been running it. I really didn't think she would make it past the summer, but she's done her thing. I was thinking of something else that was positive to say, and I couldn't come up with it. That's why there was that bit of a short pause, which, don't worry, I'll cut that out. Regardless, so in this situation, if PlaqueBoyMax is basically playing the role of an engineer, and that's something funny because people were quote tweeting him and saying this is what every single engineer has to deal with, not the smoking thing, but just chaos in the studio, people wanting to do whatever they want, people not working, because people were saying, yo, PlaqueBoyMax was a little bit upset because they weren't recording or they weren't getting in the booth and people weren't working in other clips throughout the stream. And they were saying, hey, welcome to a real studio session. And this does happen. number one, if you're paying, it's kind of counterintuitive for people not involved in music at all, because you're probably thinking the same way that I'm thinking. Hey, if you're paying for studio time, why would you just pay to just sit there and kick it? Wouldn't you just prepare your songs in advance and then show up? Unless you're kicking it out of studio for free. Well, labels pay for the studio time up front most of the time, and then they charge the artist on the back end. So it feels like it's for free. So what happens is a lot of artists will just show up, kick it at the studio, smoke, try to catch a vibe, maybe have some chicks, and then see where inspiration comes. They're not coming in prepared. And I'm not saying there's one right way or wrong way to do it. I don't make music, so hey, they can do what they want. Now, if you're talking about financially, yeah, it's probably not the greatest idea. But if PlaqueBoyMax is playing the role of an engineer, which he is, why don't they just rent a studio in each city? And they're going to have to do some setup work because they're going to have to move a laptop. Well, they're getting a mobile setup anyway somehow because they're able to get desktops in these other places, in these Airbnbs. So just set one up in the studio. That way, the people can smoke. They're a little bit more comfortable. Max doesn't really mind the smoke himself. And I think this is an ideal solution. And that way, you can probably work with a particular studio. They'll probably give you the studio for free if you're just naming the studio, or I don't know. You can get into different businesses, quote unquote, with this, but that's not necessary. You got to keep the main thing the main thing. So the main thing is, yeah, potentially talk to these studio owners, be like, hey, look, I'm running these streams. Can I bring my laptop and get things set up here with the streaming setup? Is that possible? And then have that done. It's not something that's too logistically difficult from what I've seen, because I've seen people set up streams in makeshift streams very quickly in studios. And this way, people can smoke, he can chill. They don't get more moments like these, although these are great moments for everyone involved. But I think we're getting into a situation where I'm not too entirely sure the genre of PlaqueBoyMax, because beginning it was just underground artists, people that he would potentially collab with. He did a song with Wiz Khalifa, which is like a monstrous song. And now he's producing these songs, he's engineering these songs on his stream, but they're somewhat out of his sound. So if PlaqueBoyMax is trying to be an artist, which he said he was, and he wasn't going to stream himself making his own music anymore, what is his main goal? Is it just to be an entertainer? Because that makes sense. And if maybe you're an engineer playing that type of role and these people are recording and you're putting these songs out like content, that makes sense. But if PlaqueBoyMax is making music and he's got his own sound, which is closer to that of the underground sound, or even what DDG made with him, with Pink Dreads, I keep thinking Pink Hearts, but I didn't say it this time, then him working with artists like A Sexy Red in this realm, it confuses me as the listener and potential recurring listener to PlaqueBoyMax's solo music, which he hasn't released much of, because it's like, oh, you're working with these artists and you kind of affiliate artists to certain sounds, right? Like when Young Thug and Travis Scott were working together, pick up the phone, it makes sense. They're next to each other and they're working together and the music gels well together. But if you had, let's say, hell, I don't even know, dude. Let's say, NF and Corday, right? NF and Corday, they're a bit far apart, but that made sense when they came together. But if NF comes together with the Uzi Vert, you're like, yo, what the hell? This doesn't make sense. Not just appearance-wise, but sound-wise, this doesn't come together. So that's one thing that is just came to my mind. It has nothing to do with PlaqueBoyMax doing anything wrong. Yeah, I'd like to see that issue fixed. There has to be some sort of a solution. Why don't they use studios? If this question has been asked, I know we've probably got somebody that watches all of the guys' streams here and is a big 5-star fan. Let me know why they can't do that, because I'm a bit invested in the success of PlaqueBoyMax's music in particular. I think the guy's already made it in content as a personality. He's cemented himself as one of the top players currently. Cemented himself all time wise, not yet, but I mean, that guy's been trying to stream every day this year. So by the end of the year, he'll have achieved that. And I like to see how he's pushing forth this new model of artist. It's not a new model of artist. He's creating his own unique identity, because it's not like, oh, you just replicate this formula of what he's doing. And I want to see if that works. The last time we saw something similar to this or close to this was DDG, when he transitioned into rapper successfully with the hit rap song that had nothing to do with his YouTube personality, and regular people that didn't know who he is enjoyed it. So if we can get something else like that, I would be very happy to see that for hip hop. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed.
Go to helloyassine.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram.
And I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for watching. Peace.